It took a while, but they did finally pull away. So, Keyshawn, you first. How impressed were you by this win?
I was impressed. I mean, look, I thought that they should have run away with them.
Yeah.
But Sudan was is it Sudan or Sudan?
Dan.
Okay, so.
As far as I know, maybe you're asking the wrong guy. I think it's South Sudan.
Well, you went to Vandy, so I figured you're smarter than me and Paul combined.
Where's Vandy at?
Stop that.
Where's that at?
It's in Lawrence, Kansas.
But in the end, they took care of business. They did what they were supposed to do, which is an easy cop-out based on somebody who gave them a 30-point vote race blowout. But I like the fact that, here's what I did like. I like the fact that whenever they would cut the deficit, and I think they got it all the way down to 11 with about 5 minutes to go in the game. Now, all of a sudden, we put our foot back on them again.
Yeah.
And then we got back up to about 19. So it was all, or maybe if it was 21. So it was all.
I think it was to 20.
20, okay.
Yeah.
So in all, I felt good about it, but they didn't give up, man. And this to hear the telecast talk about the way that South Sudan has come to the Olympics and the things that they did to get to the Olympics and how there's no major infrastructure, Skip, in the country. They don't have a gym and all. Just hearing that sort of stuff.
The country's 13 years old.
It's like they don't have a gym. They outdoors playing. They together only 2 months out the year. And I'm sitting there going, well, they giving this team work.
They are.
For a team to not have a gym and have to practice outdoors, and you know what that looked like, playing basketball on concrete outdoors and not together enough to really even understand what basketball is all about, for them to be pulling three, just everything. I put it into perspective. They hung tight, and they really did. There's no question about it, whether they got beaten by 17 or 47. They hung tight, man. It was impressive, but we took care of business. KD did what KD does, although most of his points felt like it came from the free throw line early. Yeah. LeBron was LeBron, although LeBron had 6 turnovers in the game. Tatum didn't do much. I thought he would do a little bit. Embiid didn't play. And Steph, Steph was Steph. He didn't really become the Steph Curry of Golden State, but we still won the game. And I think 17-point win, I'm happy with it. I mean, I'm happy with it. Now they on to the next.
Yeah, so am I impressed with the win? Am I impressed? Not impressed. I mean, it was a good win, but I wasn't impressed. There was no point in the game where I was just like, oh, man, the U.S. is putting a smacking on them. Like when I'm impressed with something, I'm jumping out my seat like in disbelief.
No, we went up though at one point.
But like they did for me, to be impressed would have been them covering the spread.
Well, of course.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, like there was really no standout performance by anybody. It was just sort of like, when I looked up at the end of the game, Bam led us in scoring. I didn't even know that. It was such a quiet 18. I didn't know he led us in scoring. I looked up, I was like, wow, Bam led us in scoring. That just shows you, and he came off the bench to do it. That just shows you how the depth of the U.S. is going to be just too much for any of these teams in the Olympics to really handle. Now, I was impressed by the defense. I like what I saw defensively, forcing turnovers, getting out on the break. Derrick White, I mean, he just constantly reminds you why he's one of the more underappreciated teams on that championship Boston Celtics from this year. I mean, he just flies under the radar because you have guys like Drew, Tatum, and Brown.
Yep.
But this guy, he just does so many of the little things, and I thought that was the real difference in his contributions in setting the tone defensively for me. So, good win, impressed, not quite, but great win, and it's a great step toward, I feel like, what's going to be an impressive win versus Puerto Rico.
I
think that's going to be an impressive. Like, if they win by, 40.
What? Puerto Rico just got smacked by 40-something.
Yeah, but I want to see that.
They did.
I want to see
Serbia beat them by 41 yesterday.
Now, if the U.S. don't do better than that,
so if the
U.S. got to win by 50 then. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
if Serbia beat them by 40,
that's what I'm saying.
That's when I'm going to be impressed. Like, when you smack somebody down by 40, 50, that's what's going to impress me. So it was just an average day for them. Nobody, Curry, He's kind of been struggling. I think we're going to get them to cover the spread. When Curry get hot and he start, turning on, that's when we start seeing the U.S. cover some of these spreads.
Speaking of covering spreads, I don't know if you remember, but we had a little dinner bet on this game.
On this game?
Yeah,
y'all did.
We did, and
Wait.
I gave you South Sudan plus 20.
Yeah.
And
right.
our guys are up 20 in the freaking second quarter.
Yeah.
Up 20.
In the second quarter.
And I'm saying, I'm made in the shade, baby. This is going to be a 40-point blowout. And I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and all of a sudden I look up in the middle of the third quarter, and South Sudan has cut it to 10.
Yeah.
And then I look up, as you just pointed out, somewhere in the middle of the fourth quarter, and they've cut it to 11. And I'm saying, just put your foot on them. I mean, just step on them. Just end this. And they kept messing around, and it was mostly, for all the points that Keyshawn just made, South Sudan just wouldn't, they wouldn't say no. They wouldn't say no moss. They're just going to, and every time a three-point shot left somebody's hands, I said, that's good.
That's good.
Right?
Right. I mean, they were wide open.
Yeah. So, look, we depth charged them. Our depth, we outscored bench scoring 66-14 because they have no depth.
Yeah.
They play 6 players. So they played their starters high minutes, especially in a 40-minute game. They're playing these guys. They're playing 38, 35, and 32 minutes. Omot was really good yesterday.
Omot was,
he made 8 out of 12 shots and 3 of 5 threes, and he looked like he could play in the NBA.
I was about to say, I don't understand how I'm watching this, and I'm like, man, that dude can play in the NBA. If he's doing this, how could he not be in the league?
Wenyen Gabriel was in the league for a while with your Lakers and actually started 8 games overtime for your Lakers. Yeah. Well, he led all rebounders with 10 yesterday because he's explosively athletic and long to me. Yeah. Right? All right. So what did I not like? Why wasn't I then impressed with this? Is because you brought it up. LeBron is just, you can't keep turning it over at this high rate. That's 6 plus 6 in the first 2 games. And again, I think he tries things sometimes that he doesn't really need to try. But once you get in the middle round, you can't mess around with this. You can't keep turning it over at that rate.
See, the thing that I saw in general, and I know Paul talked about our defense being impressive, and LeBron's turnovers all combined to me. And Rick was saying yesterday that how athletic they were and things of that nature. I saw where our defense is so much quicker, faster than their offense, just the way they move around. Kevin Durant had his back turned on one situation, and before the dude even threw the ball, he was already back retracing and covering up for somebody. LeBron James is trying to thread the needle on certain stuff because he sees that they're slower than what he's used to, so he figures, oh, I could just behind the back it real quick on them.
Weirdly, it was reminding me of Caitlin Clark, and I never thought I would put Caitlin Clark in the same sentence with LeBron James, but she will try things that are just not there. It's just impossible. You can't thread that, and LeBron will try those things, and so far, not so good, which brings me to Steph. He is in a mini slump. I know it's just we don't have a big sample size, but he cost me yesterday because he goes 1 of 9 and 0 for 6. Right. If he has just a half of the, if he has half a day instead of a bad day, he set the NBA record for making threes in consecutive games. I think it's 268. So think about it. He got blanked yesterday. He went 0 for 6, and he has the all-time NBA record of, I think it's 268.
I've never seen a 3 get blocked by he got his 3, but I've never seen that before.
I know.
Okay. And then, speaking of Steph, he has to make shots, and I assume he will figure that back out.
I think it's the ball, though, man.
Yeah.
Well, it's hard for him to get into a rhythm, Skip, because think about with Golden State, he's always in rhythm.
He's got the ball.
He got the ball. He's going to touch the ball every time down court, whereas on the USA team, LeBron pretty much dictates what's going on when he's out there with him. So it's like a lot of players that's played with LeBron said he's tough to play for. And that's like the really good players. Yeah. He's tough to play with, I mean. Yeah. Because, he
you're
controls.
Playing for him, too.
Playing,
I understand.
So it's like you're not playing at your same pace. Like Wade didn't play the same with LeBron. It's just things of that nature, and just especially if you're a perimeter player. Okay. So it's just hard for him to get a rhythm.
When Steph isn't making threes, he becomes, to my eye, a little bit of a liability on defense. So 2 quick plays in the fourth quarter that cost me a dinner. Carly Jones just said.
They just ISO'd him and just said, man, come on, let's go.
2 plays in the fourth quarter. It's Carlik who's pretty good.
Yeah, he's pretty good. He should be on the NBA roster.
But he did that to Steph. That's the first thing I said. Why is he in the NBA?
I think we had 2 of them. Did we have both?
Yeah, he had back-to-back drives like that.
Yeah, back
hit
to
him
back.
with the elbow, pushed him, hit him with the little.
He was just like, let me go ahead and put this on the island.
Goes right. That's
tough.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Whew.
That's tough.
And then every once in a while, LeBron gets a little lackadaisical on defense. And in the first quarter, if we could see what happened to LeBron, he got blown by. Not that he was dunked on. He just got blown by and gave up a dunk. Do we have first?
Oh, yeah, when my guy went right down middle. He just went and said, let me just go right here.
I'll just go right by him and wham. Okay.
That's got to feel good.
Okay.
Oh, man, that's
Hey, that's
his
the highlight of
tape.
his life.
That's going to be the first play on his highlight tape.
Gotta be.
Oh, man.
All right. And then the other thing that disturbed me was in the rebound category, they wound up with 40 and we wound up with 36. And I'm just saying that they rebound.
They will hustle.
They pogo stick rebound, man. They are just second and third jumps.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, and I got it, but you listen, it will go up a notch in competition when you get to the medal round. Puerto Rico should be a flat-out joke of a game. But again, Steve Kerr is able to try any and everything. So he makes it up to Jason Tatum. He puts him in the starting lineup.
That's how I saw that. No, but the other thing is he sat Embiid.
Sat him the whole game.
I think that like sitting Embiid to justify Tatum's benching.
No, man, it wasn't the benching. It's a rotation.
Nah, because listen, man, Tatum is the only first-team All-NBA player on the roster.
I understand.
And got benched. And Kerr apologized. He used Embiid for an example to say, oh, we're going to do this with multiple guys now.
But Embiid,
you see how that kind of went like now?
Embiid is up against Puerto Rico because Puerto Rico doesn't have the size.
Neither does
South Sudan. Man, them dudes is big and long. They tall.
Man, they had nobody that can cover. Nobody on this planet could cover Embiid.
I understand. I understand a healthy.
I don't care where they
I understand a healthy Embiid wide body is like a 18-wheeler. I got it. But if you gonna let somebody sit and rest with bad knees and a little bit winded and out of shape at times, Embiid would be the perfect candidate in this situation.
He was.
Yeah, it's a perfect candidate, and especially if you want to get Tatum some minutes.
And as we talked about yesterday, Paul wasn't here, but Joel doesn't care. He's not that into it. You want to give me a day off? I'm happy. I'm happy. He said yesterday, we talked about his quotes of 2 days ago. I'm happy, man. This is where you get to defer. I'm playing with all these superstars, so no pressure on me. They can take over. So trust me, Steve Kerr didn't have to apologize to Joel.
I think that's more of a respect factor, Skip. I mean, not that trust me, Joel Embiid feels like he's the best player in the league. Trust that. But when you're in here and you sitting around, you sitting at the table. Think about it like this. If we all going to lunch, it's Embiid, Curry, LeBron, Durant. Just naturally going to be like, all right, let me let the OGs get their food first. I'm not going to be
I got it.
I'm not going to just try to step in front of them. Them as the OGs.
They got to pay the bill.
Yeah, they're going to pay the bill. Okay. But they can get their food first, too, even though I'm the guy. Yeah. But that's just a respect level thing. I'm going to defer because of these OGs we got out here that I respect to the ultimate, and I'm trying to get to where they are. So for the simple fact, I get to watch them every day, see their habits, and see, how they move so I can, learn how to get to that point. I think that's what that was.
Okay. Back to your point about Derrick White. I got to talk about him because he's the quote-unquote worst player on the team. In fact, if you look hard at it, you say, how's he even on the team? We all thought that Jaylen Brown should have replaced Kawhi because he was made to replace Kawhi because he's got a lot of Kawhi in his game. And it becomes, what? Derrick White? So we look at the bigger picture. We say, well, there's no Paul George on the team. There's no Damian Lillard on the team. Derrick White's on the team.
No Donovan Mitchell.
No Donovan Mitchell. Derrick White is playing his tail off. Every time he is the coach's dream. He will give you every ounce on both ends. He will disrupt defensively. He had 3 more steals yesterday. He had a block yesterday, and he made all 3 of his shots. And when they get late in the clock and the ball swings to him, he does not hesitate. He doesn't look flinchy or scared or nervous. He just goes straight up into the 3 and just rips it. Like
just rips it. Right?
Like how many times you seen him do it last year for your team?
I mean, like I said to him last year, I was like, "You're my favorite player." For one,
really,
this is the
interesting.
He's my favorite player on the team because he plays every part of the game. Like, and what I mean by that is like, if the shot goes up, he's offensive rebounding, he's defending, he's cutting, he never stops moving. He's a younger version of Drew Holiday.
Yeah, he is.
Like, they're both kind of like similar in a way. They can both kind of be on the ball, off the ball. You can put them on anybody defensively.
Yep.
All the intangibles, can knock down shots. I mean, that's why I said, Skip, this is the perfect backcourt, the best defensive backcourt probably all time.
For your team, for your Celtics, not for Team US. Are you doing just for Team USA?
No, just all time for the Celtics.
Yeah.
Defensive backcourt for the Celtics. And just in NBA history, I feel like this is the best defensive combination that's point guard, 2 guards in NBA history.
Okay, so Tyrese Halliburton has been having a hard time getting any minutes at all, and he got a few yesterday. He got 8 minutes, and he made 2 threes. But Derrick White, the coaches love him. And they gave him 17 minutes off the bench. In this game with these superstars, that's a pretty good run for him.
Think about it. He's gonna bring a certain grit that some of the superstars don't bring.
They don't.
You know what I'm saying? And you need that kind of like mix with them when you got a Curry and LeBron and Durant. You need this guy who don't care about getting the ball, who gonna do all the little stuff, that's gonna kind of like be a glue guy, and that's what he is. He's a glue guy. You can put him on any team in the NBA, and he'll work and fit, and he'll start.
Yep.
That's probably one of the few superstars in the league between him and Drew Holiday that you can say, I can put them on any team in the league and they'll start. I don't have to play him at the 1, he can play the 2. You know what? Just put him on the floor. I mean, that's what he brings.
And I still can't believe the San Antonio Spurs let you have him.
Well, he's gotten better since then, Skip. He's developed. He's gotten stronger.
Really
he was solid. I've watched.
And he around better players.
Yeah, I've watched him develop. Like, he got stronger, and that's all he needed to do. He had the understanding of IQ. He had, all the intangibles. He just needed to get stronger and more consistent. His shot is way more consistent now than it was just a couple years ago.
Yeah, but in San Antonio, trust me, he was capable of giving you 30 on any given night. He's got offensive skills that you don't always or often see in Boston because they're not needed.
Mm-hmm. We saw it in Miami first series. He had a couple 30. I think he had a 30-point game.
Did he?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. And I remember 2 years ago, he was in the right place at the right time to put
right place at the right time. Right? That's one way to sum up his game.
It is.
That's his game. He's always in the right place at the right time.
Yeah. Coach's dream.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. We got to talk some NFL. This is